Happiness, we all want it. Happiness, we all need it. I want to be happy. I want everybody else to be happy. But how often are we lost in this conundrum where happiness really lives? Am I happy enough? Is everyone around me happy? Are they happier than I am? Is the grass greener on their side and not on mine? Are my patches all dry and brown and yellow, but not green as I want them to be? Do you feel that way? Do you feel lost and find that you can't understand where happiness really is? And you ask yourself, how do I find my happiness? What do I need to do to be happy enough, to be satisfied enough in my life? And in that search for happiness, the happiness that is right in front of you, right with you, you ignore. And instead you focus on the happiness that you do not have. Now, is my conversation looking very confusing? Well, that's why we're having this almost naked conversation today. And my guest is an amazing soul. She is somebody, as you can see, she's a beautiful, beautiful woman, not just outside, but inside. And amazing thing about her is she found an answer. She found her calling about the green grass. Now, I'm not talking about the literal green grass. I'm talking about happiness. And that's the message she has been spreading everywhere. And that's the message we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about if we are really happy or not, and if happiness actually is right within us and we just don't recognize it. I am so excited to introduce you to Noah Crane. And there she is. It's taking a second, so producer is trying to do that. But until then, we'll talk. So this beautiful woman is all about, is the grass greener on your own side? So let me bring her up. And there we go. Hey, Noah, how are you going?
Hello, I'm so excited to be here with you today, Sebastian.
Thank you. Well, tell me, who are you, Noah? Because I know you're the grass is greener woman, but who are you?
So I am an author. I'm a speaker. I adore people. I just want to really help people get empowered in their lives. And through my journey, I've been able to really get to a place where I am empowered. And my journey here is to keep lifting the world, lifting energy, and bringing people together and having them see for themselves just how amazing they truly are.
And that's it.
I'm very grateful to be here with all of you. It's very exciting.
We are having some fun challenges today. The grass is jumping around. All right. So this is what we're talking about today as well. You know, in the first segment, I want to talk about, are we really lost? But before we start that, people who are just tuning in, you're tuned into Almost Naked Conversation with me, Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO. And with me is Noah Crane. As she said, she's the speaker, author. And what I love is your health and life coach. And you know, they go hand in hand together. And we're talking about the greener grass. So, and you're watching Dreamaniac TV. So Noah, first thing, are we lost? That's the biggest question I seem to face all the time within myself at times. And people, you know, people come to me for consultations for business. Can you imagine? They come for business, but they feel lost in personal life because of which they can't operate at work. They can't operate in their job, in their professions, in their businesses. And when you ask them what is really happening, the first thing says, I am so lost. I don't know what to do. I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I have the experience, but I'm still lost. So are we really lost?
It's not that we're lost, it's just that we're human. And being a human being, we experience all kinds of emotions, right? We experience happy times, we experience sad times, we experience all kinds of things in between. So it's not about being lost, it's just about realizing that our feelings are going to change, our emotions are going to change. We're not always going to be in the same place we are. So we're always changing, transforming, and when we are down, we do need people to help lift us up, but we're not lost.
We are having some fun challenges with technology today. I'm just loving that.
I just
So,
keep smiling,
we,
so
technology is lost today. We are fine. Technology is lost.
it's all good.
Right. So we aren't lost, but then why is this that people, you said we are human beings. It is okay to feel that way sometimes.
Mhm.
But why, especially people who are so-called experts and accomplished, successful, doing great things in their life, on face,
Mhm.
they look really happy. They look excited. They have successful lives.
Mhm.
But when you talk to them in person, the conversations start
Mhm.
and they're not really happy. Something is going on. And what I call it as they're alone in a crowd.
Mhm. Yes, yes.
Why would somebody get that feeling despite having achieved everything, having money, success, great family? Why do we go through that stage where we feel like I have everything but I don't?
Because we're not fulfilled inside, and it's an inside job, right? Happiness is an inside job. So we have to learn to really connect to ourselves and really love ourselves so much. Self-love is the most important thing. So no matter who you achieve, if you're disconnected from yourself and who you are, you're going to be left empty, because money is not going to make you happy, right? What makes you really happy is the self-love and the self-connection to yourself, because the more you know yourself, the more connected you are to yourself, the more accepting you are of yourself, the better you feel about yourself.
And you talk about this in your book as well. Can you please tell a little bit about your book?
Yes, so my book, it goes through my own journey as well, because and the reason it's called The Grass is Greenest Where I Am is because I always used to run away from myself. I always thought the grass was greenest somewhere else. I always thought, oh, if I move to this country, if I do this, if I live this thing, it will be better somewhere else. And it never is, right? Our problems always follow us wherever we go. And I realized the only way for me to be happy was, first of all, was to learn to love myself. That was very important, like I talked about before. And then to stop comparing myself to other people, stop competing with other people, and change my conversation from scarcity to abundance, because we really are so abundant. And I think the key is to be grateful, because no matter where you are in your life, there's so many things to be grateful for, right? So when we get ourselves in a state of mind of gratitude, our life just flows much more easily, and we come into our own peace, love, and light.
Absolutely, and I love what we said. The scarcity is in our mind, and that's where, despite all the abundance, we don't really recognize it. I just want to quickly say hello to Alicia. Alicia is directing this show, and she's also the executive producer and co-founder of Dreamaniac TV. And if you're tuning in right now, this is almost naked conversation. So one of the things you just said about scarcity and well, I know in America it's scarcity, in Australia it's scarcity. So one of the things that comes to my mind is we have everything, but something has happened in our lives, something in the history of our experiences that makes us feel that feeling of being less than, not having enough,
Right.
always feeling scared that this is not yet enough. I need more. And that challenge, how do we understand, how do we recognize that scarcity within, that this is not really a problem of not having enough, but a problem of feeling that I don't have enough?
Yeah, so it's all about, again, when we're able to get to know ourselves more and get to connect with ourselves more, and we realize that we are not our feelings. Like our feelings, we can feel a certain way, but doesn't mean that's who we are. So it's about learning the distinctions, that And most of all is choosing to be around really beautiful, empowering people. So even when you go through those emotions and those feelings, you have people around you that see your shine, that see your beauty. That's why, to me, the choices you make in life, who you choose to surround yourself with, who you choose to bring in your life, is the most important thing, hands down. The reason I'm able to have the greenest grass, the reason my life works so well, is because I made really smart choices with really important things, because I know whoever I marry is going to really create me being happy or not being happy. So I was very careful about who I chose to bring into my life. So I believe elimination is a big thing that I love in life. The more we eliminate things that are not working and things that are not giving us the results we want in our lives and giving us to move forward to where we want to go, so elimination, eliminate all the toxic things out of your life, so you can get to create more love and light in your own world and around you, which is so important.
Right. And here is the question that comes to me in that case. People don't actually realize at times that they are going through that feeling of not having enough, or they're not focusing enough on their strengths and their happiness that is right with them. Uh, how would you say somebody who's struggling with recognizing just the very fact that happiness is right with you, it's just that you're not looking at it? How does one even recognize
Yeah.
that I actually do have what I need? I'm just not accepting it.
Yeah, I think it's really a stages, and I think no matter, you could tell somebody all day something, but when you're ready to hear it, when you're open, that's when things come in, right? So I could tell somebody all day. But the thing is that there's so many things out there to help you. There's great books. There's all kinds of courses, transformation things, great people, mentors, coaches. So I think it's the self-work. And when you're not ready to get the work, when you're not ready for transformation, you're not going to be open for it. So you're going to have to struggle some more and go through some more pain, right? Until you're ready. And everybody has their own timing. Like my kids, I have teenagers, like my daughter, she's not ready for transformation. She's not there. She has to go through her own struggles. And we have to learn to accept people where they are. So accept them where they are on this journey, because we're all at a different place. And that's why people that have more transformation and have done more work, we need to keep shining the light on everybody else.
Right. And from what you were saying, I do realize, there are times when somebody compliments you, somebody says you're really beautiful, or somebody says you're really good at something you do, and you reject that because you don't believe it, and you're like, you're just being too kind. You don't really mean it. And I'm not talking about, when somebody's just being polite and saying, oh, thank you, you're being too kind. I'm saying when people actually say, you don't really mean it. And especially for me, this experience is about relationships where your partner is in love with you, is in awe of you, and you question them and say, but why do you like me? I'm nothing compared to you. And that's where I think that feeling we're talking about, when you don't believe yourself that you're enough, you actually have that beauty, you have that, as you said, that shine that you're not you're not recognizing. So
and when you realize that you're just energy, right? So the more you turn your light on within yourself, the more you shine bright, the more people are attracted to you too. So for me, I go out in the world, people are just attracted to everything I do, because I really live in that place of authenticity, being authentic, being trustworthy, not just pretending to be someone else. Like, be a good person, be an honest person, be a person with integrity, that's caring, that, open your heart, because your heart is the window to happiness. It really is, because I put out so much heart and so much love every day to people, and that's why I get to have so much love. Like, I know my life is always going to be great because of what I keep putting out there.
I absolutely agree with that. And right, just when you were saying that, what do you think about when people say fake it till you make it? It's a very common saying, and a lot of people give that advice, fake it till you make it. I kind of feel conflicted about that. On one hand, I think, yeah, you're trying, so at least you can put up a face. But as you said, authenticity, that's where I feel conflicted. Like, if I am faking it, how really am I going to show happiness when I'm not happy, when I know I'm faking it? So how do you deal with that? What is your view on faking it till you make it?
I'm not a really good faker. because everything that I go through, it really shows all over my face. I'm not good at hiding. But what I would say about that is that, you know, gratitude. You know, gratitude will always get you back to a better place in your life. So every time I'm going through something and challenges, whatever it is, I come back to my gratitude, because I know when I'm grateful, when I look at the things that I do already have and the things that I appreciate what I have, it really brings me to a happier place. So I say, you know what, accept yourself where you are. Don't beat yourself up. You are exactly where you need to be right now. But find gratitude. Make a gratitude list. That always brings you back to a really good place of more happiness and more light in your life.
Right. And the biggest thing is, I mean, when you're faking it, you know you're faking it. You can never lie to yourself. You can lie to the entire world. You can lie to your people you love, but you could never ever lie to yourself that you're faking it, right? So that is always there in your mind, no matter how much you hide it. And as you said, you know, not everybody is good at faking it. Just it's not the easiest thing to do as well. Because once you say a lie, or once you say something that's not true, then you have to cover it up again with something else, and then you'll forget what you covered it up with the first time.
Right.
And unhappiness will show, the fakeness will show, and you're also not only losing your authenticity, you might lose people who really love and trust you.
Definitely.
Right? And you know, speaking about that, I want to in this segment we talk about, are we lost, and you know, how do we actually recognize our, you know, from within, that we have the shine. And in the next segment I want to talk about how is everyone else happy. So if you're tuning in right now, this is Almost Naked Conversation with me, Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO. And with me is my wonderful host, Noah Crane, who, in my terms, in my words, is the happiness coach, is the, you know, joy coach. If I know you have so many titles, but to me, you're really the happiness coach who helps people see the light within and, you know, celebrate that light. So the question that comes, we focus a lot on how is everyone else happy, rather than focusing on where do I find my happiness. So do you think this focus on, hey, I have everything, but someone else is happier than me, and how are they happier than me? What do you think about that comparison? I think it's very self-damaging.
Yeah, so comparison, I always say, is the biggest thief of self-love. There's nothing that would steal your self-love more than comparison. So what I decided was, for my own life, and I think it's a tool that's really helped me, is to change comparison to admiration. What if, instead of comparing each other, or comparing what we have to what other people have, or our lives to somebody else's life, how about we just admire them? Just like a beautiful painting or a beautiful anything, you admire other people's lives instead of comparing. So that actually leaves you in a really good space, because it takes nothing away from you. You still love yourself, but you can at the same time cheer and admire someone else. And that has made a huge difference for me, and I think it will for you too.
Right, and that's really, it is all about. That's a beautiful thing you said. Admire somebody who is doing better than you, or something that you want to do. Why not make it your inspiration? Why not make it something you want to look up to and try and be, you know, do? And Alicia said yes. You know, self-love is the key, and that is very true. Once you start loving yourself from within, everything else changes, because you acknowledge and respect yourself first. And Alicia says, need to change your beliefs. You're absolutely right. You have to be ready. Absolutely right. You know, Alicia. So when you're trying and doing this comparison, you're constantly you're looking at that comparison in a way like, I am not good enough, or why are they better? That negative thinking, that negative approach changes what could really have become your inspiration and your source of strength into something that further brings you down. And you kind of go in that cycle where you're not recognizing it's right in front of you. The inspiration is right there. The the willingness to have something better is right there, but you're not recognizing that you're actually making it negative.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and what you said is very beautiful, and I always talk about that. Is you're stuck in a cycle, and so the key in life is to learn to break the cycles you're in and to create something different. So your job is always to keep breaking cycles that are not working and create something different. So you might as well use comparison in a way that empowers you, because admiration will empower you, comparison won't, right? And it's
Right.
competition. When you're competing with other people, you're going to be empty, you're going to run out of gas, and you're going to be exhausted, right? But if you change competition to connection, right, then
I
it's
love
all different things. So then we collaborate and we connect with each other. So it doesn't have to, so it's all about learning to change it within yourself and use words and things in a way to empower you rather than to steal your energy.
And that is what I love about you, because since we have connected and we talk every now and then, and first of all, what I admire is you're always smiling. Even in your text, I can see the smile. And Alicia says, I admire, a crane. Absolutely. And, I'm not joking. Even in your text, I can see a smile. I can just the language, the choice of words you have. It just, on the worst day, it makes me smile.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I believe that our job in this world is to love and send love to each other. So when I talk to you, first of all, I love you. I think you're an amazing man. And second of all, I want to just send you love all the time, because I want you to just keep seeing how incredible you are. So for me, it's like it's a no-brainer to want to just send people love and light, because I want them to see their own love and light. I want to be a mirror for you. And so that's what I think. We're mirrors for each other. I should be able, when you talk to me, you should be able to see your own beauty. And when I talk to you, I should be able to see my own beauty. That's the beautiful exchange that we can have between us as people.
I absolutely agree. And thank you for everything just now you said. I'm so humbled, and absolutely, I love you back, 10 times. I can't compare, but that's what I'm saying. When I talk to you, whether we're talking about the shows, whether we're talking about anything else, the energy, as you said, when you mirror that energy, I mirror that back to you and to somebody else, and changes the entire day. It is about, finding that inspiration, as we're talking about in this segment, from somebody else. And you are that somebody else. When I talk to you, I find that inspiration even on a worst day and think, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's going to be okay. If I had a bad day, that's all right. If I had some challenges, that's all right. It will be better now, because something positive happened. And it's the same thing. Finding that inspiration from you changes my day, and then it changes somebody else's day, and the same cycle changes into something entirely different and positive, right? So I want to ask you one thing. People who are focusing on why somebody else is happy, people who are not seeing others as inspiration, how can, because changing mindset is not an easy thing. I
Right,
often say I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you.
right.
So how do we bring about that self-understanding, self-realization, and recognition of happiness within, to stop comparing in that negative way?
Okay, so how do we find happiness within ourselves? Is that pretty much
Absolutely.
the question? Okay. To me, it's a constant muscle you need to practice, right? People do it in so many ways. For me, it was a long road, because I didn't see my own beauty for a long time. I was very disconnected. I used to look in the mirror, and the girl in the mirror was pretty, but I knew nothing about her. I was totally disconnected from myself. And I was actually a very sad child. I didn't even smile for most of my life. And the work has been, for me, is just my decision that my life was going to be amazing. I just decided that. I said, my life's going to be amazing. I'm going to take control of my life, because I wasn't going to leave it up to chance. I'm going to choose the person I'm going to marry. A lot of it, I'm kind of I like to control my life. Maybe a control freak in a way, but I like to make sure that I'm in charge of where I'm going. So whatever I can be in charge of. So like, for example, if I hold on to pain, if I hold on to anger, it only hurts me, right? When I'm able to forgive, I'm able to release myself and free myself. So since I know there's certain things that I can change within myself that will help me stay more empowered and be able to be more connected to myself, those things like forgiveness, like no comparison, like not thinking about scarcity, all those things, not competing with people, have helped me love myself more and get more empowered in myself. Those are the tools I use to really not be comparing myself and not be in a place where I feel like my happiness was always inside of me. So learning to, and most of all, learning to love myself. And that was hard, right? Learning to love yourself is not easy. But when you have people that constantly love you and pour love on you, which my husband does all the time, it makes you love yourself, because eventually it's there that light is going to start shining slowly more and more. So choose beautiful people who see how amazing you are, because they will help you get there, and do the work. I mean, do courses. Don't give up. There's so much stuff out there to do.
Right. And I just want to acknowledge a couple of comments. So my mother is saying, watching right now from India. Hi, Mom. And she loves your posts and everything. I think you guys recently connected as well. And yes, that's me. I messaged earlier. My Cece was telling me, she's another great friend of ours. She was telling me that somebody thought Cece and I are dating. So I just laughed. Not possible, but all right. Sanjit is saying, I'm so glad to be producing this episode, learning so much, Noah Crane. Absolutely. Sanjit is our producer, and Alicia says, forgiveness is one of the greatest self-love tools. Here's a question I have for you. And, this is where I know we are different people. We have different ways of thinking. And I want to understand this both for myself and for public as well, people who are watching. Now, here's one thing. I don't believe in forgiveness. Personally, I do not believe in forgiveness. I believe in accepting what happened, moving forward, and not even moving on, but moving forward to my bigger goals and my what I'm focusing at. So, especially for a person like me who doesn't believe in forgiveness, who doesn't believe in letting go,
Right.
how do we find? Because I think you understand, when you don't forgive, it is challenging to move forward as well.
Yes.
So how do we overcome that obstacle of not being able to forgive something unhappy or unpleasant?
Okay, forgiveness is not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I'll tell you a beautiful story from my book about the woman who typed my book. She's amazing. Her name is Denise. And as she was typing my book, she kept saying, oh my God, this speaks to me, this speaks to me, this is me. And it was really cool to have somebody typing your book that's so related to what you're writing. As we were getting to the end of my book one day, Denise told me that she hasn't spoken to her mom in 22 years. That's a very long time. Denise had Denise had a stepfather that was abusive, and through a lot of trauma in her life, she blamed her mom for a lot of it. And it just caused them to not speak for 22 years. While we were finishing, she got a phone call from a cousin telling her that her mom was dying, that she was on her deathbed. And Denise did not know what to do. She said to me, Noah, I don't want to go see her no matter what. I just want to let it go. And I said, Denise, I think you should go see your mom, think about it, because you're going to give her the freedom to pass away in peace. And it's also, I knew also it would give her the freedom as well. So that was my advice to her. Denise thought about it, and she decided to actually go see her mom. When she reached her mom was 80 pounds. She was on her deathbed, 80 pounds. And Denise always thought when she saw her mom, there was going to be so much anger towards each other. But she said it was the most amazing thing. All that was left there was love, just complete love. She said for 3 days, they just hugged and kissed each other, told each other how they were both stubborn women, and it was just amazing. And after the 3 days, her mom went into a coma and she died. And Denise got to complete that part with her mom, which I think is just so beautiful. And now she has her whole family back, her brothers, her sisters, and all that. Now that's one story, right? There's so much more, because people do something evil to you. Maybe it's not as easy to forgive them. But I think forgiveness is not being their best friend. Forgiveness is just giving yourself permission to say, you know what, it's acceptance. It's saying, what happened, right? I accept it. And by forgiving it, I get to release it. I no longer hold on to it. So forgiveness just gives you the freedom of not holding on to it anymore. And we don't need to hold on to the past, because there's nothing we can do about the past. So all we can do about it is recreate our future and right now. And I think there's a lot of power in forgiveness. I love forgiveness.
And you know what, that literally, again, it is something that I don't believe in and I don't understand. But what you're saying, I agree. It is more about releasing that burden off of your chest
Mhm.
and moving on to that free space where you can breathe. You have that freedom. You have that. You're not burdened by something that's constantly eating you up.
Mhm. And
Whatever it is, whoever is responsible, but you are allowing yourself to grow. You're allowing yourself to evolve. So that is beautiful.
yeah, I
I
want to say one more thing. I don't mean to interrupt, but what came to mind when you just said that, it just got me excited because this is my biggest thing in life is compassion, right? And so when you forgive, you're giving somebody else compassion. And that's a really big thing. If you can give other people compassion in your life, because people, there's a lot of trauma in the world. There's a lot of, the people have been really hurt. And you know the saying, hurt people hurt people.
oh
And
yes,
so the thing is that, we're all stuck in those cycles of pain and suffering and hurting each other. And so I think when the compassion comes in and we can forgive something, even the worst thing that they've ever done in their life, okay, when you can find that place of forgiveness, and it's your own journey. If you come to it, you will, and if you don't, you don't. But for me, I can forgive anything. If somebody murdered somebody I love tomorrow, I can forgive them. Because I've gotten to a place where my compassion, my heart is so big to forgive and love. So, it's just like I said, everybody does it on their own journey and their own time. But for me, I still want to be connected to my compassion. And I think that's what makes me the most connected to forgiveness.
and I do agree. Again, I'm going to contradict myself, but as much as I don't believe in forgiveness, I understand and I do agree. It is about compassion. It is about, and I do say, you need to be first kind to yourself to be kind to another, you know.
Yeah.
And Alicia says, I believe forgiveness doesn't absolve the other person's responsibility. It's about you and your ability to love. That's true. And, that's where compassion comes in. That's where you're letting go of, because I think not forgiving is also a form of hate. It
Yes.
is a form of uh, anger, and it is exactly what you don't want others to do to you. And I understand my statement is contradictory because I still haven't got to a place. I'm not denying. I have many a times asked myself, questioned myself, why can't I let a few things go? Why can't I just forgive a certain person? And I
Right.
understand what you're saying, that it is about compassion. And maybe my challenge right now is that I am not yet compassionate enough towards those people to get over that. Uh, but I also see that yes, it is more about loving yourself, letting yourself breathe. So and that takes me to our next segment. This is so beautiful. I just love talking to you. You're just full of, I don't even know what's the term. You are such a sweet person. I don't know if I know somebody as kind. So in this segment I want to talk about, we talked about how everyone else is happy and where do we find that happiness. And in next segment I want to discuss, how do I find greener patches? Are they on somebody else's lawn? Are they on my side? But before that, Noah, uh, once again, sorry, I just want to remind people, if you're tuning in just right now, this is Almost Naked Conversation with me, Szebastian Onne, and with me is my beautiful host, Noah Crane. We are talking about the grass is greenest right where you are. And guys, you can watch us on Dreamaniac.com. You can also go on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, uh, Periscope, Twitter, so many places. We're live right now everywhere, and would love to have you in the conversation. So, talking about how do I find the greener patches? Before that, I want to go a little bit more into your book, Noah.
Mhm.
So, when you started writing the book, and thank you for sharing that story about the person who was typing. Sorry, what was her name again? I'm so sorry for forgetting
Denise.
that.
Her name was Denise. Denise.
Sorry.
Denise.
Right. So, and that story itself says that that book needed to be written. That book needed to be out there because people know something, but they don't know how to recognize it. So when you were writing that book, first of all, I want to understand what made you write that book.
Okay, so for 20 years, I said I'm going to write the book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am. Every time my friends would go through challenges and they would be complaining, I'd be, but the grass is greenest where you are. The grass is
Right.
greenest where you are. So I always brought them back to that. And I just knew that I had so much to share. I've done so much growing within myself. And I knew that I had so much to share, but I was afraid of my own greatness. I was afraid to come out and be the person I was supposed to be in the world because I had fears. All of us hold on to a lot of fears. And when I was able to get past my own fears and I was able to step forward, take foot forward, then everything started kind of snowballing into place. So I think when we're ready, I had a really important message to share. My book, I talk about how to find your soulmate. I talk about my elimination game. This is how I found my soulmate. I talk about forgiveness. I talk about comparison. I talk about so many things, about my childbirth, how...
Sorry for interrupting you. I just got really excited there. Tell me a little bit about elimination. I really am interested to know.
Okay, so when I wanted to find my husband, I remember that I made a promise to myself as a child that I was going to have an amazing adulthood, and I was not having that. I was still going from relationship to relationship and really not finding myself. And so I created a game called the Elimination Game because I wanted dating to be fun and exciting. I didn't want it to be, you know, a hard thing, and I was looking for my soulmate. I knew I wanted to get married. And so the Elimination Game had rules, like you don't go out with anybody for more than 3 dates. If by the 3rd date you see that it's not the right person, you eliminate them, right? Another rule in the game was that not to wear your heart on your sleeve. So you never give a man your heart before he shows you with his actions that he deserves your heart. Another thing, so I was just very clear about what I wanted. And I knew when I met the right person, even if me and you, Szebastian, were going out on the first date, right? I knew that there was nothing wrong that I could say to the right person. So we can go on the first date, Szebastian, I could tell you, I'm looking to get married and start a family. I want to get married. And if you ran the other way, would be like, no, I eliminated. So I wanted you to run the other way. I wanted people to run the other way if they weren't the right ones. I didn't want to waste my time with the wrong people. So it was taking control of my life and my destiny.
Right. That's actually so interesting because, you know, aren't we all trained so much in our society that, don't say this. This is too intense. This is too soon. Don't talk about kids. Don't plan future. And what you're saying is entirely opposite. Say it in the first date. Let them know your intentions.
Spill it all out. Spill it all out because that's being real. This is what you really want. Why pretend to be anything that who you really are, right? And that's why I was engaged for 1 month to my husband. I met him and we had a long-distance relationship. And he came and he showed all the right actions. Within a month, I had a ring on my finger. And we've been married for 23 years to the most amazing man in the world. So it's just when you take control of your life and you don't settle for less, because I decided I was going to choose. Nobody was going to choose for me anymore. Because before I was choosing me, it was easy to choose me, right? But when I said, I'm going to choose now, this is it. I took the power. I took the ball in my hands. That's where my life really changed.
And that's what it is all about. Recognizing and taking the power in your hand and doing things you really, I go back to what you said, that you need to be your authentic self. It really is about having the power and coming from your authenticity, because then, number one, you know, this is what I really want. This is who I really am. And these are my terms and conditions. Take it or leave it. I'm not saying in an arrogant way, but you know, as you said about the elimination game, you're being upfront from the word go. You're telling them what to expect. This is the package. This is everything that you get. Take it. And you know, if this is too much for you, if it is too intense, or if it is too soon, then you're not the right person for me at all.
Exactly, because you can never say the wrong thing to the right person.
And then why would I invest in you at all if I know that you're not the right person? And it's funny, I'm actually going to forward this show to somebody I'm kind of dating, and they told me, so this is the funny part I'm going to share. We met 3 years ago. I was already in a relationship, so we met as friends and everything, and they showed interest and like, no, sorry, you know, I'm not single. Thank you so much. That's a compliment, but you know, not going to happen. And then they kept messaging. So, you know, out of my own feeling that this is not right, I kind of blocked them. And then I was single and saw them again somewhere else, and we started talking. We went for a couple of dates, And exactly what happened, what you're saying, that, you know, it was really amazing. But they said, and they just actually, they actually just shared this last week with me, that the first time when we met, the first time we started dating, the reason I vanished, you were too intense for me. You wanted too many things too soon. And
No.
that to me comes as a surprise, because no, I am not a person who plans a relationship so much in advance. I'm a very nervous person when it comes to relationship. I take my own time. So it was like surprising to hear that. But now I'm going to show them that, yes, hey, at least I was honest and upfront from the beginning. And here's my friend who says, why should I waste my time on somebody
Exactly.
who doesn't even have the same intentions as I do?
Right. If it doesn't flow, let it go. That's my motto. If it doesn't
I
flow,
love that.
let it go.
I love
A relationship should be like a faucet of water. You open it and the water flows down. It should be complicated. It should be the easiest thing you've ever done. You know why? Because you're choosing it. So why would
Right.
you choose anything but something really easy that flows? Because this is like a best friend. This is somebody you want to spend your life with or your time with. So you really got to be so mindful. And there's so much more. You got to make sure they come from a good family, good upbringing. You know, there's so many other things that I talk about in my book. But the number one thing that you want to look for is people's actions. Words mean nothing. Anybody can tell you anything, right? It's the actions they do. Are they doing the actions that you expect to see? And if they're not, don't waste your time.
Right. And I agree. Look, I've been on both sides where I have, and this is something I would say over the last 15 years, there's been different stages of me recognizing the need for authenticity, the need for not fake it till you make it. And every single time when I've been at that stage and more realization, more revelations, I found that when I accepted what the truth was, I was able to more happily, as you say, flow with the facts, flow with the truth and happiness, right? I wasn't wasting my time and energy on something that wasn't feeling right. And there's so much more going on in my brain right now. I'm trying to focus what to focus on. So one thing that I find is, when you're talking about all this, how do you find that happiness and that flow within, where you know that, okay, you know what, it's okay to settle for this? Well, not, I don't think settle is the right word, but like, this is my happiness, this is my joy, and I have it. I don't need to look outside or for more than what I already do.
You have to be a good listener. You really have to be a good listener. All the messages are always out there. All the signs are always out there. We're not listening, right? We're just like, we want to do what we want to do. You know, the sign says stop and you go. You know, I mean, the signs are all out there. I'm a great listener. I love people. I think everybody here is here to share. When I meet you, you're here to share something with me. I'm here to share something with you. I follow the messengers. We're all messengers for each other. We all can empower each other. So when you're listening, when you listen to the messengers, you're always going to be guided in the right direction. When you're not listening and you're just in your head doing whatever you want to do, and you're not really thinking of, you know, taking your power back and creating what you want, just comparing and competing and all that, and in those conversations, then you're not going to see what's right in front of you, because you're always guided. Realize you are guided. If you listen, learn to listen. Listening is so powerful.
I love what Sanjit just said. I've been finding my confidence more each day since I surrounded myself with positive people. And I think that is very important as well. Having the right people around you, having the positive, energies around you. And I agree. When you start listening, both to yourself and to everything that is happening around you, and listening can be visual, it can be mental, it can be screens that you're seeing. The more you listen, the more you pay attention, the more clarity comes. And I use the term CTCR, which I say clarity, truth, courage, and resilience. So when you have clarity, what your truth is, you find the courage, you find the resilience to keep going and to really celebrate what your life is, right? And I agree. Listen, I think there's too much noise around us. There's just too much noise,
Yes.
and we're paying attention to the noise.
Right.
Not, as you say, we're not paying attention to those signs
Mhm.
that are telling us, that are showing us where the happiness really is.
Yes, I always say the world will always pull you in 100 different directions. You know, you have to learn to just focus on what you really want, and by focusing on what you want and being intentional, and you start creating what you want. You just have to really take control of your life, and that's why I love to be in control of my life. Because it gives me a chance to create things that I do have control over, like choosing who I want to surround myself with.
That's beautiful. And that also brings us to the end of our show. Time runs so fast. I wish I could have a longer conversation. Sanjit said, you guys, thank you so much for this talk. I needed this. Thank you, Sanjit, for watching and producing. I agree. And Noah, one question I have before we let you go today. If somebody is still unhappy and lonely within their, it's a lot more about self-doubt. If they're struggling with self-doubt and they're not listening to great things people are saying about them, great things that are happening around them for them, where can they begin to at least start the journey?
Okay, so one of the things I would recommend is I've done a lot of self work, and one of the things that really helped me is Landmark Education. It's a great course that can really help you get out of your own way. Also, just volunteering, doing things for other people. We're always in our own way, right? The key is always to free ourselves, get
Right.
out in our own way. So there's just, like I said, a coach, a mentor. Find people that are cheering, people that can guide you. It's really important to find people that can guide you on this journey, because you can't do it alone. We all need each other. So the more you
Right.
can find other people that can guide you on where you're going, it's going to make it a lot better. But go to a yoga class. Just get out of your own way. Because being in your head is like being in a bad neighborhood, right? So you got to get out of your head.
Do something that actually takes you out of your head.
Exactly. Take a step out of your head, and then let's start a whole new journey for you.
That is beautiful, and thank you so much, Noah. But don't go anywhere. Stay in the green room. We'll bring. I'll talk to you in a moment. Thank you so much for actually spending, time with us and sharing this journey. And Noah is the author of "The Grass is Greenest," Where I Am. Please go and check it on Amazon, as well as you'll find all the information on our website, Dreamaniac.com, and look for the column, and you'll find all the information there. First of all, I'm really, really grateful for this conversation, Noah had with us today. And this is where, challenge really is to start listening to ourselves, to start listening to all the signs that are out there, and not be lost in the noise, but actually focus on where the real happiness is. And it is within, it is right with us. We just need to learn to, as Noah said, rather than compete, connect with people, collaborate, and create something beautiful. Which is why I also say, use the power of your influence, inspire people by using creativity, engagement, and leadership to bring people together, to build each other up. Because as she was saying, volunteer, do yoga, do something constructive. When you build each other up, when you collaborate, when you do something that is outside of doing your head in, things change. A positive cycle begins. And that is what these Almost Naked conversations are about. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time at the same on the same day, same back time, same back channel. Until then, please take care. And as we say in Dreamaniac, you dream big and we make it happen.